Hello guys, welcome back to the real experience of horror in the cryptic cut. Don't just watch in silence. Hit like, subscribe, and let me know what time you're watching this video in the comments. What if the person watching you in Walmart isn't a person at all? It sounds crazy, I know, but I swear, something happened that night that I still can't explain. This was about 2 years ago. I was working night shifts at a hospital, and it was one of those exhausting weeks where I hadn't slept properly in days. My shift ended at around 2 a.m, and I figured I'd stop by Walmart to grab a few things on the way home. Walmart is weird at night, the kind of weird you only notice when you're completely alone. The lighting is too bright, the silence is too loud, it just feels unnatural. When I walked in, there were maybe 2 or 3 people in the entire store. One cashier, an elderly lady in the pharmacy section, and some dude pushing an empty cart around like he forgot what he came for. That should have been my first red flag, but I was too tired to care. I grabbed a basket and headed to the snack aisle. That's where I saw him. A man, standing completely still at the other end of the aisle. He wasn't browsing, he wasn't moving, just standing with his head tilted slightly, staring directly at me. At first I thought maybe he was zoned out or just tired like me, but something about the way he was standing, the way his body didn't sway, the way his eyes didn't blink, it didn't feel human. I stepped aside politely and gave a slight nod, like, "Go ahead, man." He didn't move, didn't even flinch. I turned away and pretended to check some chips, trying not to let it bother me. Maybe he was just being weird. But when I looked back, he was gone. No footsteps, no sound, no cart, just vanished. I quickly moved to the next aisle, suddenly very aware of how empty the store really was. Then I heard a noise behind me, soft like plastic crinkling. I turned fast. Nobody there. I shook it off and went toward the freezer section, opened a door, grabbed a frozen meal, and that's when I heard it. A voice, low and right behind me. "You don't sleep much, do you?" I spun around. It was the same man, but now he was closer. Much closer. Too close. He looked like he hadn't blinked in hours. Pale skin, wide stretched smile, clothes that looked like they didn't quite fit. I asked him, "What did you say?" He just smiled deeper and whispered, "You should leave. They're not going to let you out this time." That's when the panic hit me. I turned and speed walked toward the front of the store. I didn't care about the food anymore. I didn't even look back. No answer. I pulled out my phone, no signal. Just then, I heard it again. Footsteps? No. Dragging. Like something being pulled across tile. I turned around. There he was. And behind him were 3 more. Same clothes, same smile, same empty eyes. They all looked exactly like him. Clones, copies, like someone had copy-pasted him. They didn't speak. They just stood there, watching. I ran. I don't know how long, down aisle after aisle that never ended. I was losing my sense of direction. Was I running in circles? Why wasn't anyone else around? Everything felt off, unreal. And just when I thought I'd collapse from panic, I turned a corner, and there was the cashier. She looked confused, like she had just woken up from a deep sleep. Behind her was the real exit. It was back. I sprinted toward it, heart pounding in my chest. I didn't stop until I was outside in the parking lot, gasping for air, and when I turned back to look inside, they were all still there. lined up, staring at me through the glass, and one of them waved. I never went back to that Walmart, and I don't think I ever will, because now I ask myself one question. If those things weren't human, then what exactly followed me out that night? Cameras caught something moving in the store, but no one was supposed to be there. I used to work night shifts at a Walmart in Missouri, back when they were still open 24/7. It was usually quiet after midnight. We had a small overnight crew, mostly just me, one guy in electronics, and a janitor who barely spoke. No customers, no noise, just us, restocking shelves and watching the clock crawl. But one night, something happened that still makes my skin crawl, and no one has ever been able to explain it. It started off normal. It was around 3:12 a.m. I remember because I had just checked my phone. I was in the toy aisle restocking a shelf of plush animals when I heard it. A loud crash, like metal hitting the floor somewhere near the back of the store. I paused. No announcements, no voices, just silence again. I figured maybe it was the janitor or the guy in electronics dropping something, so I went back to work. But a few minutes later, another sound, this time closer, a shelf creaking, like someone was leaning against it or climbing. I walked out into the main aisle and looked around. Nothing. So I radioed the other guy on shift. "Hey, did you hear that crash?" He replied immediately, "Yeah, I thought that was you." I told him where I was. He said he was all the way at the front doing inventory. The janitor? His cart was parked in the middle of the cleaning aisle, but he was nowhere in sight. At this point, I was starting to feel weird. You know that feeling you get when you know you're not alone? I started walking toward the back stockroom where the noise came from. It was dark. We usually kept the lights off back there to save energy. I pulled out my phone flashlight. As I walked between the boxes and crates, I felt this sudden cold, like the air around me dropped 20 degrees. Then I heard it. Laughter, but not like a person laughing. It was distorted, glitchy, like a child's laugh, but slowed down and broken. It echoed off the walls, and then cut off mid-sound. I turned around fast. No one there. I started backing out slowly, not taking my eyes off the dark aisle behind me. Suddenly, the motion light above flickered on, and I saw something at the end of the hallway. Not clearly, just a shape. Tall, skinny, unnaturally still. It didn't move, but I felt it looking at me. I bolted. I didn't even care if it was a prank or a person. I was done. I ran straight to the front where my coworker was. He saw my face and instantly said, "Dude, what happened?" I told him everything. He just stared at me for a second, then said, "Bro, you need to see this." He took me into the security office where the CCTV screens were still running. He rewound one of the feeds, the camera near the back hallway, and what I saw on that screen still haunts me. At exactly 3:13 a.m., the camera picked up movement in the dark. A tall, blurry figure walked across the screen, but its legs didn't move. It just glided, and its head, it turned completely backward as it passed under the motion light. No face, just skin. Then, in a corner of the frame, we saw something even worse. The janitor, standing completely still, staring at the figure, like he could see it too, but it didn't move. After that night, the janitor never came back. We asked about him the next shift, but management said he never clocked out. They thought he left early. His card was still there when we opened the next morning, but he was gone. No one found his uniform. No trace of him on the cameras after that moment. Just that one image, frozen in my mind. A few weeks later, corporate shut down our overnight hours completely. Said it was cost cutting. But I don't believe that, because I know what I saw. And somewhere in the back of that store, something was waiting. I just hope it stayed there.